Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Taste the Dragons, the Toddcast, the video game podcast that all of you social, whatever they're called. What are they called?
Dissidents?
Dissidents? Dissidents. I like that.
Dancers?
Social dancers.
Sky dancers?
Sky dancers, yeah. There
Tiny
we go.
dancers? Dancing in the sand.
Yeah. I like the social dissidents. All you social dissidents out there. This week on Taste of Dragons, the animals have gone rogue. The news is being directly controlled. Our topic is missing, and the dragon this week is on the front lines. As always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
Amanda.
And I'm Joe.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit of a different episode because it's probably might be our last episode of all of us together, considering we're all getting locked down.
If you haven't heard, things are weird.
Just a little. Just a little.
And they're slowly getting closer to where we are, so.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this in the future, I hope things are better.
Right.
Exactly.
Especially if it's me who's listening in the future.
You're the only one left, Troy.
This
Oh,
is
no.
to you, Troy.
Oh, no.
You got this, bud. It's up to
Future Troy, the savior of us all.
you. Just me and a banjolele. Let's do it.
You could do it. I have faith in you.
I do, actually. If you had a banjolele, I think you could get it
He,
done.
he does have a banjolele.
You do?
Done.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're fine then. I don't know why we're even worried.
We're all gonna be all right, guys.
The president comes up and he's like, "It's okay. Troy Davidson from Hollywood, Florida has a banjolele. We're all good."
We're going to bring him up on stage.
I don't know why, but somehow I do feel better.
It's what the banjolele does. I was lamenting today to Jessica that I didn't have one yet. And I'm like, this is the time. I need to go buy a banjolele so I can learn.
The best thing about a banjolele is that if you play the ukulele, you play the banjolele.
So exciting.
Hello, I now know 2 instruments without really having to. Learn a new one.
Look at that, Troy, the savior
That's
of
right.
us all.
That's right.
Got you.
Well, let's just get into our games that we've been talking about this week.
What are you playing?
We want to start off. I guess I'll start us off this week. I've been playing a older game on my PS4. I was looking at all my games on my PS4, and I was like, all right, I want to play something else. So I was looking at it, and
You looked at that and went, meh.
yeah. I also didn't want to get off of my couch, so it was something that was already installed on it, so I didn't have to
Fair.
change discs.
Fair.
So probably about a year ago, I bought an old PS2 game called Rogue Galaxy, and which
I
is
remember that.
fantastic level 5 game. And I installed it on my PlayStation, and so it was there. So I started playing it.
I also started playing that like 3 weeks ago.
Really?
Wow.
In my New Year's resolution to learn how to block, I've been trying to block.
I don't block in that game.
It's hard.
Yes.
So you both started playing Rogue Galaxy at the same time without talking to each other?
I guess so. Yeah.
Wow.
But
It's
I-
happening, guys. A group mind has finally
think-
happened on this podcast.
I think I've stopped playing Rogue Galaxy though, so Brian's
Okay.
probably an expert.
But
That game's
yeah.
hard.
Oh yeah, the game's great though. Like I love the system with it because it came out. It's from the same people who did Dark Cloud. They've done all of the Yokai Watches. You know, it's level 5. So
I didn't know Yokai Watch was also Dark Cloud. Now that must be in English so I can play it. I mean, I was excited before because it was like Pokemon but demons. But knowing that it's also Dark Cloud Pokemon demons, that's just
All right.
the best.
That's about right. You have a 3DS still, right?
Kind of.
I will bring you one of my extra ones, and I will bring you the game.
Yes.
I'll bring you the first one.
Curbside
It's great.
pickup.
Yep,
Yeah.
I got you.
So yeah, I've been playing that game and I've been getting into it, and I forgot how grindy the game is because it's like if you just progress in the story, you're going to get your butt whooped,
Right.
to put it mildly. So part of the game really is just hanging out and killing the same things.
I watched Manda fight a giant toad in
Oh,
that
yeah.
game forever, and it looked like the most punishing freaking thing. Like just poison, and it killed all of your companions instantly, so you were by yourself.
The fight started, and then the toad immediately electrocuted the water, and we were standing in the water because that's where the cutscene ended.
Yeah.
And then everyone around me died, and I had been fighting it for maybe a second and a half, and it was just like, what is going on.
A half hour later, I'm like, babe, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? And you're like, yes, it will be done. This toad is going down.
And the NPCs aren't smart enough not to be in the water with the electrocute
I
things.
know.
Yeah, I know.
It's
It's
a
rough.
lot.
Like you revived them, they went back down. Anyway, you did beat it.
It was a good game.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are just mechanics in it that are older that don't exist now.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's not the game's fault.
Games have chilled out a little bit.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. It's
Even Dark Souls is like,
Yeah.
it's like hardcore, but not like that hardcore.
You want it to be challenging but not unfair.
Right.
Exactly. So yeah, this is definitely an early 2000s game.
Yeah.
And I was surprised though because even though it is a PlayStation 2 game, playing it on the PS4 definitely has smoothed out a lot of the art in it and a lot of the textures. So I was like, wow, this actually does. I mean, it doesn't look like a PlayStation 4 game, but it does look like a PlayStation 3 game some of the times. So
Okay.
I was very happy with it.
That's cool.
And I'm actually just past where you are. I just got off the planet Juraika. And yeah, the game's great. I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Right on.
Yeah. So good old school RPG.
Yeah.
Bam.
Did you say BAM or Japan?
I said Japan, but like in like a band,
It was
like
good.
Japan.
I
Yeah, I
really
liked it.
enjoyed
I
it.
liked
I
it.
caught it, and
Yeah,
then I
yeah,
wasn't sure I was right,
It's
but
like
it was
a
good. I
JRPG,
enjoyed
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah.
A Japan.
I like it. We're gonna put that in a folder over here. We're gonna use that.
Season 2, Taste of Dragons. Put it in the folder.
Yeah.
We're gonna put that in our good ideas file cabinet. What? You mean it's empty?
We've never put a thing in here.
Ooh.
This is where the cabinet is? Damn it.
Yeah,
It's
that was the
sticking it in the
problem.
couch.
Yeah.
The good ideas couch this whole time.
Yeah, that was the problem. We couldn't find it. That was it. Yeah.
Right. Lots of good ideas. They're just all over.
Yeah.
It's up to you to remember.
This symbolically explains the difference between Troy's organizational system and my organizational system. It's like, oh, I made this filing cabinet. Troy's like, I've just been putting it in between the couch and on the floor and on top of this cabinet. And
Gotta put it where I can see
right
it.
over there.
Otherwise, it doesn't exist.
strangely enough, we both know where everything is.
Right.
Oh yeah. Where is that thing? Well, if you look underneath the computer towards the back, it is somehow underneath there. I don't know how it got there. I do know it's there though.
I saw it fall and I didn't pick it up, but I remembered it was there.
Yeah.
So unless you didn't clean up, it's exactly where it is. All right.
Marriage.
So yeah, that's it for me, Rogue Galaxy. And how about you guys? Joe and Manda, you guys are still playing Animal Crossing, I assume?
Animal Crossing.
Okay. Yay.
Okay. Well, that answers my question.
We're deep. We're deep. Like I wake up and if I have to work that day, I'll wake up like 30 minutes early so that I can play 30 minutes of Animal Crossing before I jump into my job. And then I answer all my emails and then I check to make sure there's nothing else I need to do in Animal Crossing. And then I work and then for lunch I play Animal Crossing.
Well,
Yeah.
you start with your fun job, and then you go to your not fun job.
So we absolutely exploded last week
Yes,
with the
we did.
podcast. It was a lot. What about Animal Crossing has stood out to you over this past week that we didn't necessarily touch on before?
Yeah.
I read an article recently about how time traveling in the game is bad, and I think they highlighted something really interesting.
What do you
Time
mean?
travel aside, is that the joy of playing Animal Crossing is that it brings out this nostalgic feeling. Whereas I wake up and I look forward to playing it the next day.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that it's time gated well is what's making me enjoy it so much. Is part of me really wants everything to be unlocked instantly, but there's also something really wonderful about pacing it out.
Right.
I've played a game for 7 days now, and every single day I'm just as excited as the day that it came out, and I think that's a really amazing quality.
And to be clear, the game doesn't have time travel. That's gamers that are gaming their out of game system to manipulate the game, kind of
Right.
hack it almost.
Yeah, exactly. Putting it to tomorrow.
Right.
And
Since
then
how Mandy said,
right.
you don't really get things until the 5th or 6th days. Some people will fast forward their systems to make that happen. Which hey, enjoy the game how you want to enjoy the
Exactly.
game.
Right.
But yeah, it's been nice what you're saying, Mandy.
It takes some of the fun away, I think, because I agree. For me, it's definitely about the interaction you have each day and how every single day builds towards another thing that you can do tomorrow that you couldn't do the day before, or your house being a little bigger, or new people that you interact with in the town. If I time traveled, I don't think I would enjoy it anywhere near as much. It just wouldn't have the same fun of not knowing what you're missing, even, until you get it. And you're like, oh my God, the quality of life for this is so great.
You appreciate everything. I just unlocked yesterday. I just unlocked bridges and inclines, meaning I can traverse over water without having to jump, and I can walk up a cliff using stairs instead of climbing, or using my climbing on my ladder. And that by itself, like the system is like I have 6 different bridges and the customization is wonderful. I get to choose what it is I like and I get to choose where it goes. In Troy's case, he gets to regret where he put it and then cancel it and then come
It's
back
always
in and build it
one
the next
space
day.
off. One space off.
But it's nice because I know how I play on my map. So I was like, the bridge has to go here. That's absolutely where I want it. But funny enough, I had friends come into my town today and they were like, Manda, we cannot go anywhere. You have all of these fences in the way. And I was like, they're not in the way. They're absolutely where they should be. It's your fault. You should walk different.
Just go the way I go.
Right? What?
This is my town.
You're only running into fences because you don't know where things are. But I think the personalization is really amazing. So I feel very much like it's my space.
Yeah, I feel like that's where we're getting to now. A week later, is we're starting to really find our own identity on the island.
Yeah,
Right.
and then you wake up and Tom Nook has his morning announcements, or now it's going to be Isabel or whoever.
Right.
They do the morning announcement. It's like, ooh, what's going on today?
Yeah,
Like,
whose
I
birthday is it?
Yeah, it's
Who's
like
visiting?
it's like being in school again, like with the principal or whoever's doing
Morning
the morning
announcements.
announcements. Yeah, it's just like, ooh, what is going on today?
I'm gonna make everyone say the Pledge of Allegiance to my town.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point you brought up, Mandy, about the way that like time is passaging. Like we're putting a lot of hours into this game, and usually when we put in a lot of hours into a game, it's to beat it.
Yeah.
And in this game, you can't. It doesn't matter how many hours you put into that game if you're not like cheating, so to speak, or hacking. Like you're not gonna beat this game, which means you just have to kind of just chill out, and you find a different pace with this game that I found over this past week. That was very like I stopped caring about beating the game or paying things off or whatever, and just started like existing in that game, and it gave me such a great serene feeling of just organizing my fruit trees. And
Yeah.
I read an article a little while ago, and I hope I haven't talked about this in the podcast before, or else I'm just repeating the same story. But I read an article about how if you go to children and you have them draw pictures, they'll draw pictures forever. But if you go to those same children and you pay for a picture for $5 for every picture, they'll continue to draw. But if you stopped paying them, they would stop drawing. But if you never paid them to do it, they would just draw forever. And I feel like that's kind of what Animal Crossing is doing, is instead of saying, hey, these are the things that you have to do by rewarding you in like paying you to do things, because that never really happens because it's so open-ended. You kind of just flow with your creativity forever. All of the things I'm looking forward to doing are things that are in my mind. I want to make this little section over here. I want these folks to move in, and I want to put them high on this mountain, and none of that's a game objective. And I think I have those because it isn't super heavy on the catch 40 of these fish, or go and speak to this guy 9 times.
It's interesting because you're able to play the game kind of how you want to. So
Right.
some people can look at the Nook Mile system and try to catch all the fish or something, or they can try to pay off their house or whatever. And I think that's what's happening, is everyone's finding their own place, and it's cool that the game is that versatile to be able to reward people.
Yeah.
in that.
How about you, Joe? How are you enjoying it?
I love that game.
Yeah.
I've always loved that game. There's almost no words that can describe my love for that game. I can't. I truly can't. I don't know how to explain it.
What's your current non-Animal Crossing related Animal Crossing goal?
None.
Wait, what?
Like nothing Nook told you to do.
Oh, okay.
Nothing that the game is like, this is
okay,
it. What's
okay.
your plan?
I am a really big proprietor of making everything flow naturally. So I don't have any fences. I don't have, but I have trees, and I have things that I try to make patterns and how you should walk with how you should follow yourself through the trees, follow yourself through different stuff. So right now, because of the very first bridge that I put in, for me, the flow is fine for me if I want to make money in the game.
Right.
I found out from our friends also. Apparently, they don't like where I put my bridges, and they don't understand why I put my bridges where I did and why I put Nook where I did, because I knew later on in the game I would get to move them.
Right.
So for right now, it's fine for the flow of how I need to quickly get to places.
Yes.
But I don't necessarily care about the ease of the very front part of the map.
Right.
Because I spent so much time with a tiny little piece of my island, I don't really care.
It's not you. They're just wrong.
They're just wrong. So I think for me, a lot of it, I cannot wait until I have all of the pieces that I need. I can't wait for cherry blossom season. I'm literally just waiting for cherry blossom season, because I don't know which ones of the trees will be cherry blossoms yet. So I can't create what I want to create until I can actually see them and go, okay, so this is a cherry blossom tree. Now I can make a corridor here, and I can make a thing there. And when the blossoms flow, they'll flow this way. And so when you're walking through, I'm very excited.
It's so exciting to like think about a game that we have and be like, well, in 3 weeks when this thing happens,
Right.
Yes.
there's going to be a whole new like batch of content and things for me to want to dig into. It really brings joy. So
It does.
well done, Animal Crossing. I like how how we're talking about it this week like fine wine, whereas last week was like the first time we all discovered alcohol.
It was our first hit. It was our first night. We were just drunk. my head's in the toilet, but I'm still having fun.
And this
Keg
week
stand, keg stand.
this week we're like, yes, the season's coming. I got the pass today. Really working on the feng shui. Japan.
Japan.
Nice. I like that. That was a good ending. Good ending. All right, cool. And what about you, Joe? Joe. What about you, Troy?
I can
What
be
are
your
you
Joe.
doing?
I can't be as good as Joe, but I can be your Joe in a pinch.
I
if you need me
would
to.
appreciate that.
Okay, I'm an actor, and I'm looking for work.
Always right in front of us, Joe. Not even subtle about
Hey,
it.
I've had to deal with you two for years.
Yeah, Mandy and Joe, your hermance,
Okay. That's fair. That's okay. Yeah.
cismance.
Cismans?
Is it there's bromance? I don't know.
Bromance.
Yeah, no,
Oh, that sounds
We'll
weird.
find it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's something made with that
There's
name on
gotta
it
be.
somewhere.
There's gotta be.
So I played a game. I started playing a game before Animal Crossing, and I had to stop because it got too real. I am playing a game called The Longing. It came out on Steam. It's 15 buckaroos.
Okay.
And okay, so the premise of this game is that you pretty much are like, you're created. You're this little like black imp thing that don't have a lot of distinguishable features, and in front of you is this like mountain god king. It's like a king that's like forged into a mountain or in a cave, and he says something along the lines of like, hey, the world needs me right now, but I'm not powerful enough. I need to slumber, but I need to be able to wake up. And that's why I've created you. Your purpose is to wake me up in 400 days so that I will have enough power to save the world or whatever, fix the world. And you're like, okay. And then he like sends you away. And then a timer starts that says 400 days that starts counting down in real time.
Yeah.
You are literally just an alarm clock for this king in real life for 400 days. Now, what is the game? You're put in a little room with a couch, a bookcase, and something to draw on, and you just have to wait by yourself. You're just quarantined. You're just isolated. It's exactly what we're doing right now. You're just in this space with nothing to do for like ever.
You had the same problem I had 2 weeks ago. It was just like, I'm going to play Vampire. Oh, it's about the plague.
Yeah.
Somehow I don't want to play Vampire anymore.
I'm not as into it. There is something fascinating about it, and it's the idea that you really do have to find ways to bide your time. The game loop is that you can venture out of your cave to go actually look around this whole labyrinth system. You can pick up supplies, you can pick up molds, you can pick up gems, you bring them back to your home just to give yourself stuff to do. Make a fire, draw some more paintings of yourself. You can make an instrument if you find enough parts. They're just kind of scattered around.
Oh, I hope you can gather clay and then make someone to talk to. It's just like a sock puppet.
Possibly, yeah.
You're putting on dramatic plays with yourself.
It's fascinating to see hey, what will you do to pass the time? Mm-hmm. I sat down on the couch. One option is to just sit and stare, but another option is to read a book. And I read this beautiful story about, kind of like a Cinderella tale or Prince and the Frog. And then another book was literally just Moby Dick. All of Moby Dick. You could just sit there and read it because that's what this game is.
Yeah.
So what I did is out of game, I set a real alarm clock 400 days in the future because I got to see what happens. If whatever this game is just a huge payoff for 400 days later, I can't not know what waiting that long will be like. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try and check in at least once a week with the game.
What if you go to wake the king up and he goes, nah, 5 more months, and then he hits you, and then you have to come back?
No! I'm going to write Moby Dick 2 in that time period. But it's cool. You can find more books. Mm-hmm. I definitely, when scourging the labyrinth, I found the library door, but it was locked. And so my character had a little funny thing where he's like, I will add this to one of my disappointments and put it into his disappointment list. Because that's what this game is. It's so tedious, but that's kind of the point. And I don't want to play it all the time. I don't think it's meant to be played all the time, but the parallels were a little too much for me this week, so I haven't touched it.
Yeah, actually, I had heard about that game as soon as you started describing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I did hear about this. I also heard that there is some things that you can do in the game that kind of speeds up the timer a little bit, or takes off a little bit of time.
I thought so, but I wasn't sure if that was just my mind playing tricks on me.
No, it actually is. No, that's real. That's real. You thought you were in a Green Day song?
Yeah. It was just so subtle, though,
Yes.
that I was like, is that happening or is it not? Oh, well.
Or is it like the type of thing where if I'm doing something, time seems to move faster versus where you're not doing anything and then just like, oh, this is taking forever.
Which just parallels to like real life, like playing Animal Crossing. It's like, oh my gosh, hours have gone by. Have they really gone by? What's happening? What is time?
Dark out.
Yes, I have been here for 9 hours.
Yeah, this whole situation has made us, reevaluate time and what it means to us. So
Oh, yeah.
that's what this game is doing as well.
Cool.
So that means that I can't just set an alarm clock. I'll have to actually check in to see, which is even better. I look forward to seeing this experiment happen. It may pay off, it may not, but I applaud original, interesting work.
Oh, yeah. A $15 alarm clock.
Yeah. Or I'm the alarm clock.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, well, I'll do it for this week's games, and that'll bring us to our news segments.
Nose.
So we'll start off this week with also that's hopefully will parallel the real world. Final Fantasy XIV will not be evicting any of their players from the player housing inside of the game.
That's good.
Which is good, because some players probably can't afford the $15 because they have,
I was
other
worried
stuff
from my
going on.
Moogles out there.
Yeah, exactly. so they will not be evicting anybody over the next couple of months. So.
Moogle evictions is the saddest thing I can think of.
Oh yeah, their little like pom pom thing on their head just like wilts a little bit.
Unemployed, homeless Moogles. Oh.
Well, according to Kingdom Hearts, they just live in the mail system at that point. So maybe that's in the future.
The year 2020. Oh God.
Yikes.
And then the next bit of news is that Epic.
Well, actually, if you don't mind,
go for
I
it,
am
go for
kind
it.
of interested in the subscription services since everything is kind of being put on hold, bills for certain people and whatnot. For games like Final Fantasy, where there is a monthly charge, like, are they waiving that for existing players?
I don't believe so.
Because that's kind of rough if you're working on a thing but you can't afford to keep playing. Granted, that's not essential.
Yes. It's also kind of rough for the publishers themselves because they also have to keep the lights on themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Pay
They
their
also
folks,
need money in, so they also need to pay their people. So I
That's a good
completely see
point.
both sides of that coin.
Yeah.
I'm with you. So
Anyway, just interested.
Oh no, absolutely.
See
absolutely.
what other subscription services gaming are doing.
All right, and then Epic is going to be opening a publishing arm of their company called Epic Games Publishing. Really original there. And they'll be doing publishing a little bit differently. So they're going to be covering all costs up front for developers, including salary,
Get
rent,
outta here.
anything else that
That's
developers
that big
need.
Fortnite money right there.
That absolutely is.
Damn.
And in return, when the game releases, they're going to offer a 50-50 split of all the proceeds after they've recouped their upfront costs.
That's great.
Oh, okay. I
So
gotcha.
they spend.
the
So
developers will still be paying for that upfront cost, just not at first.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's not as much of a gamble to begin with.
But if that includes salaries, then it's not like, oh man, I have to wait. I'm not getting any money because I'm
Exactly.
still waiting for them to recoup. It's just like I'm living, and if this is popular, I'm gonna. That sounds great.
Oh yeah.
That might be hard though if like the game doesn't sell well or they don't make that money back. If there's like a loan payment, are they gonna like Tom Nook them and be like, hey, just get it back to us when you can?
No, that's the whole point of being a publisher. You're the one that puts that out, so it's on
Okay.
Epic to also market their game and
Right.
do all that jazz.
So
So,
they-
They'll
make
probably
their
be
money.
somewhat selective. It's not like they'll pick anything.
yeah. So and then also the studios will also have all rights and to their titles and intellectual property. So as a publisher, they're not even going to do anything with that. They're just going to be helping them out with them and doing a 50-50 split. And so far, they signed up Playdead, which is the makers of Limbo, Gen Design, which is the makers of Shadows of Colossus and The Last Guardian.
Ooh.
Dang.
And also Remedy Entertainment, makers of Control. Yep, and Alan Wake. And
Wow.
Dang.
So they got three huge or pretty big publishers,
I know, Limbo.
pretty big developers.
Yeah.
So we'll see what comes of it. But
Oh man! All right, go for it, Epic. I mean, you got to change things up, and
You
there's
do.
got to be new players out there. So you can shake up the industry. So that's good.
Yeah, if they change their model and it's popular, that'll inspire other people to make changes as well.
Yeah.
yeah, and they're also not one of the requirements isn't that it has to be exclusive to anything. It's all on the developers where
right,
they want
yeah.
it to be on, all that jazz. So, I mean, good for them. Good on them. So, yeah, that'll do
I
it
hope
for
Fortnite continues to always be as popular as it is.
Agreed.
If it allows this much like wiggle room and,
yeah.
and space. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then also there was a surprise Nintendo Direct Mini.
Woo!
which was not so mini.
It was not so mini.
It was like over a half hour. That's not mini.
It's not.
Like the PlayStation State of Play is like 15 minutes.
Yeah. You know.
A mini would be like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was expecting. When I
Right.
saw it, I was like, why is all this
Whoa.
news? There's a lot of news for this, guys. So it was revealed the next Smash character is going to be from the ARMS boxing game.
That makes sense. It's a
Yeah.
fighting game, Nintendo property.
Yep.
Do it.
Yep. And then also the next Animal Crossing event is going to be Bunny Day, which
Woo!
starts on April 1st through the 15th.
That's so soon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Excited.
That means we're going to have to put in a lot more time into Animal Crossing, I guess.
I
man.
guess
well,
what's
Oh,
happening?
darn.
if I have to.
It's going to
guess.
be run for 14 days.
I believe so, yeah.
That's
from
cool.
the
Did-
1st to the 15th.
Did that happen in old games? Or was it just like the day? I remember missing holidays.
In the other games, usually it was actually the whole month. They would have
okay.
something. They would either be a type of furniture or something going on. And for Easter specifically, it may have only ever been like a week, essentially. Actually, because
I
I
was about
think
to say, yeah, depending on the
it
event.
depended on the event. But most of the big events that happen throughout the year, it usually was the entire month, and then the actual character themselves, like like the holiday mascot themselves, would only be there one day, and only for some hours too. Sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
I got a confession to make. My character has been hoarding bunny noses for everyone. I don't know if anyone else has gotten them.
I
but
haven't gotten them
Nope.
yet.
Nope.
Yeah,
Oh.
I am secretly ready for this.
So Elvis. That's so
Not so
Elvis.
secretly anymore.
DM us if you want a bunny nose.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm going into the bunny nose trade. I gotta get work, yo.
He's going to be charging for those bunny noses.
Oh, this ain't for bells.
I'm going to need a Venmo
Yeah.
of $2.
Times are rough, yo. Come on.
Then they also announced Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is coming to the Switch on May 29th. So that's going to include all the DLC, all that jazz for it. And then lots of demos were also released for the Switch or for the eShop. So yeah, check them out because it includes like Bravely Default 2 and a couple of other games, like pretty big releases for demos. Which also brings us to the PlayStation hardware discussion.
Oh my gosh. I never thought I would fall in love again, Mandy.
It was
But I
so
did.
riveting for me. I
Oh
know
my
watching
gosh.
it though, as I was watching, I was like, oh man, this is so boring. I'm enjoying the hell out of this.
I-
Set it up for us. What was it?
So it was all of the specs.
Mark Cerny, which is like the main person in charge of the new PlayStation 5, had a live stream.
Yep.
It was like listening to someone read the nutrition facts on a box of cereal and explain to you what each of those chemicals is for
With a
and what
smile
color it is.
on his face.
And why it's important that you eat it.
Yes.
This is why they included it, because riboflavin helps with your teeth.
We were all expecting like them to show us the box or to like show what the games, just like the popcorn theatrical things that we as consumers want to see, the flash. But instead he went deep
He
into
went
the
deep.
specs
It was a
on the PlayStation
deep
5.
dive.
Like it was almost inappropriate. I was like, am I supposed to be seeing all this? Oh, Mark Cerny. Goodness.
He also, there were numerous tweets about how amazing his speaking voice is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He reminded me of Bob Haas, the painter.
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross, thank you.
Bob Haas is great too, though.
Yeah, great guy.
That's what Bob Ross's motorcycle gang name.
Bob
Haas.
Boss Haas. It was like how Bob Ross gets so into painting the trees, and you're like, you know what? I'm not really into that painting, but just watching this person being into painting is super relaxing and cool.
I'm into this now.
I don't get it, but I love it, and that's what that experience was.
Talk to me about more of those PCIe or pipelines. Is there 16? Ooh, that sounds like a lot.
Explain to me why the hard drive is the same hard drive that they're going to be selling later, but actually it's not the same hard drive, even though it's going to have the same name, but it's going to be different and better, even though they're going to seem the same.
Ooh, how many megabits a second is that?
Ooh.
Oof.
In the end, I'm still really excited for the PlayStation 5,
Yeah.
which they recently talked about. Sony released that they have not halted plans on it coming out
Right.
at the end of this year,
Yeah.
and that they don't foreseeably see that happening. So then again, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? None of us foresaw this 2 months ago.
Who knows?
Yep.
2020, let's go.
We're still pre-ordering it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I don't care how broke I am.
Yeah.
I'll be broke with entertainment.
Yeah. This podcast and gaming is what's getting me through.
Fair enough. But yeah, I actually enjoyed the hell out of it. But I know everybody else, because we had a text group with a couple other people as well, and they're all like, "What is going on?"
Brian got so many messages from people telling him that he has to explain what's happening.
Yeah, Bobby messaged me, our friend Bobby, who lives in New York. He's like, "So Brian, what does this mean?"
Brian, you're the tech guy. It's up to you.
So I explained it to him. He's like, "Oh, all right, that sounds pretty cool."
This means it will be good.
He had a friend who kept saying he was the Mark Stern. He was a Westworld robot because he was so good at speaking, and he didn't flub for like the first 15 minutes of it or whatever. And he was like, "I'm still waiting for him to make some sort of vocal mistake."
Freeze
and it just
all
didn't
motor
happen. And then it
functions.
finally happened, and he was like, "Oh, there it is, there it is."
This is why Brian understood him, because we all know that Brian's really a robot, so
Yeah.
he understood the other robots.
They were talking
Yeah.
robot talk.
Yeah.
We were.
We see you. And you see all of us all the time.
Stop doing that, Amanda.
The robot union is going to have a word with them.
And then lastly, Control's first DLC was released this week. It was called The Foundation. I look forward to playing the hell out of it as soon as I remember how to play the game. What's going on in the game.
Right. I think Control's an amazing game. It's not my cup of tea. So, like, I don't know if I'm going to get into it.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
But
I already bought when
Yeah.
I completed Control, I went immediately onto the PlayStation Network and pre-ordered
You're like, bring it on.
I did it, and I was like, I wasn't expecting it to come out now.
It looks cool.
But it
Looks
looks
like
great.
ice powers.
Yeah,
Or something like that.
it
So.
looks phenomenal. It's gotten nothing but great reviews. So
All
I'm
right,
looking
all
forward
right,
to
all
it.
right. Tell me about it, Brian.
I'll let you
We should
know
do a
about
podcast where you can tell me about video games.
I'll think about it.
All right, great.
All right, so that'll do it for our news. And now we have the esports ball news with Hobart the Tired.
Oh my goodness! If you get my name wrong one more time,
It'll be at least once more.
I am Hunter Trip Tanner.
Oh, okay.
But you know what? Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
You know, despite the flub, I still think you are a good guy. But you know what? That's because I'm in a good mood. I'm a happy camper. Who's a happy camper?
All the animals in my town.
Yeah, and me. I'm a happy camper. But you may ask why. Go ahead. You may ask.
Why, Trip? Why?
Overwatch League is back! Oh, I feel like a fish who can breathe again, but like an underwater breath that's like, filled with oxygen, but like water oxygen, Science! Anyway, I am so excited because sports is finally coming back in its best form, the E-kind. Electronic sports. You know what? Let me just get right into this. Overwatch League returned this Saturday with remote audience-less matches. They tested it out last week with friendly skirmishes, which went mostly well. But today, the Shanghai Dragons debuted for the first time to freaking sweep the Guangzhou Charge 3-0. That's right. They haven't played it all this entire time, but they came out and didn't even... You could tell they haven't played yet this whole season. The Spark, they're the ones with the pink and the blue colors. Yeah, they eked out a win over the Chengdu Hunters. They're the ones with the Angry Panda logo. Now, I don't know. I always bank on Angry Pandas in my line of work.
Yeah.
But not this time. Huh. Now, what's interesting about these games is that they're actually being played in their own time zones. I mean, how cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
Unfortunately, that meant your boy HCTT had to wake up his very handsome behind at 6 a.m. to watch these matches because they were happening in China. I didn't actually do that. I just looked them up later. I ain't waking up at 6 unless it's for bells. Okay. But what has been interesting is that the entire world seems to have this esportsification happening to it because, look, NASCAR.
Ooh.
NASCAR. That's right. A big regular sport.
Yeah.
Actually switched over this past week to esports. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and other NASCAR drivers participated in virtual e-NASCAR races. Now, they have told they're using iRacing. Mm-hmm. Apparently, they already used this to train, and they figured, hey, why don't we just publicize this and put it out there? And they did, and it made the world that much better because now they can do NASCAR and nobody has to get hurt.
Is it called e-NASCAR because now it's finally entertaining?
Oh!
I I can't be associated with that opinion. As a sportsman, I am a fan of all sports, and as a game man, I can't. Anyway, yeah, it was actually really beautiful. All the big stars came together. Even people that usually don't get to play together got to play together, and everyone was just like, "Hey, this isn't so bad." They don't know if they're going to do it again, but.
For a one-off thing, that's actually pretty cool. Actually.
It sounds like they're going to move to a new location and then do it with new races. But you know what? I can't be happier. Sports is back in a new way, in the way that I prefer it, not actually in front of real people. So with that, I'm going to knock this podcast back to you, my bri with a sty. Take it away.
I really do need to get that looked at.
I mean, yikes. I'm taking bets over here. See how much longer it'll last.
Well, thank you for that, sir. As always, we enjoy hearing about the esports news and bringing this segment in, and we appreciate it. So thank you. And now in our last segment, Turn Up for What?
Turn up for what?
This week, stocks were reported to rise as high as 400 bells in the local sector among friends and associates, and 600 bells digitally among online stockbrokers. With the opening of the Reddit Turnip Exchange, the RTE, concerns regarding insider trading have also arisen. Proponents of the online trading system argue that the site operates within the spirit of free trade, while the opposition refers to this type of activity as cheating. More on this in next week's segment. Until then, buy low, sell high, and stay safe.
Oh, well, thank you for that.
Thank you so much. I'm educated and I am ready. Hey, if you're listening to this podcast when it comes out Sunday, make sure to get your turnips.
That's right.
Okay? Buy them now.
That's right. By the time you listen to this, it'll already be too late. But however...
Oh, yikes.
We're just reminding you forgot to buy bells. or forgot to buy turnips.
It's important.
Actually, you can still buy them.
Okay.
If you go on the Reddit forum, the Reddit Turnip Exchange, people who bought too many on Sunday, or some people are overbuying and then throughout the week are selling them, you would have to buy them at a higher rate than the other person purchased them.
Okay.
But you can play the middle ground.
find a way.
Someone bought them for 90 and then they'll sell them to you for 200, so you can buy them at 200 hoping you'll be able to turn them around at 5 and still only make a 50% profit. I realized all of this sounds very boring after I started saying it.
I don't know. That was very thrilling.
I'm into it.
Let's do it.
I did pretty
Turnips.
good. I did pretty good this week. I got about a 20% profit off my turnips.
I did the same. I got roughly the same.
I'm going to try to hold out for a little better next week.
Yeah. Now that I know. Yeah.
Now that we know what the ceiling is.
Yeah.
Because I purchased mine for I think 107, and then I think our roommate, she was selling, or no, they were buying them for I think 120 or 140 or something like that, and I was like, well, good enough for me,
Right?
Sold them, and then I think it was like the next day our friend had them for like 500 or something stupid like
what?
that, and I was like, well, I feel like a fool now. Now I know what investing's like.
It's the only investment. Actually, we should be making a lot of investments right now.
Probably.
The minimum buy price is 90 bells, and the maximum that anyone's seen across any Animal Crossing game is 700. So just information for everyone.
All right, cool.
Wow. Okay. Turn up for what?
What?
What? All right, so I'll do it for our news segment. And Troy,
Yeah, Brian.
we're not going to do a tasty topic this week.
Good, because I haven't eaten yet.
All right, good. We're all very hungry. That's why.
I can't even think about it.
We haven't had anything tasty all week.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah,
I
we're gonna.
resent that comment.
I think what we meant to say is that we're too full.
Yes.
From all
we've
of the
been-
tasty things that we've had.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about topic wise. I'm not talking about food wise.
Wow.
Food wise, I've been completely stuffed.
This still doesn't work for you. Either way, this isn't good.
We don't talk. Animal
gotta-
Crossing's happening.
We got to shift the narrative.
Yeah, I think you need to say the words Animal Crossing a couple more times to make this go away.
Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing.
Animal
Animal
Crossing,
Crossing. Animal Crossing.
Animal
I do
Crossing,
really like
Animal
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, that's really good. It's really good.
When you say Animal Crossing really fast, it almost sounds like you're an animal.
I didn't know we spoke animalese here. This is great.
Let's timestamp when the podcast went off the rails.
We're doing so good.
Quarantine. Who would have thunk?
I'm still waiting on that quarantini. It's going to be delicious.
It is. It's just Tylenol PM.
but it's got an olive in it.
And it's at noon. So that brings us to our Dragon of the Week.
It's the Dragon of the Week. Oh, it's so chic. It's the Dragon of the Week. No, it's not meek. Dragon of the Week.
Dragon of this week is also going to be a little bit different than normal.
Yeah, we didn't have a tasty topic because we're doing stuff. But we're also going to change our Dragon of the Week.
That's right. So this week's Dragon of the Week is actually going to be everybody on the front lines that are helping us out during this crisis.
Because you know what? We don't get games without developers and producers.
Correct.
But we won't have producers and developers without the people who are saving their lives.
That's right. People who are in the hospitality industry, people who are helping out in the grocery stores, who are actually getting us our food, all the farmers, all the people who are actually still out there and helping people face to face.
Delivery people. It's you tend to see the things that really matter.
Yeah, right.
In life and in the world, and it's very heartwarming to see and emboldening to see so many people out there doing those jobs.
Exactly, and every single time I have had a face-to-face interaction with somebody, if they have like a tip jar or something like that, I always give them a couple of bucks because like, well, you're still doing this. I mean, I appreciate it because you're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I way over tipped our grocery delivery guy.
Yeah.
They're like, "This is your recommended amount," and I was like, "That's not nearly enough."
Oh,
This guy, no.
Yeah. Yeah, we just had groceries delivered, and the delivery person definitely had gloves and masks and all that stuff, and we're totally like, good to go. So it's good to know that precautions are being taken, that they're not necessarily going out fully at risk.
Yes.
But they are, still putting themselves out there when the rest of us are really trying to stay away.
Yeah, and everybody's actually, because we've been out in the grocery stores as well, trying to forage for stuff, and it's nice seeing all the everybody actually, for the most part, is actually being really good about it as well. Everybody's trying to keep 6 feet apart from one another. Yeah. Lots of people out there with masks and gloves, although the gloves doesn't really work if you use them the entire day. But
and then you touch your face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whatever. But still seeing at least people trying, and all these places that are still open also helping out and be like, hey, listen, here's like we were in Target, and Target actually has it marked out on where you're supposed to stand.
Oh, nice.
As to be 6 feet apart, so that way also people don't try to cut people off.
And also, like, my 6 feet and your 6 feet are just different because it's in my brain.
Right.
Exactly. So it's
not
actually
a math
been really nice.
scientist. I don't know how much 6 feet is.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to make a vest that just has like a long ruler on all sides of us.
Stay away from me.
For me, it's like I imagine myself laying down on the ground. Like, can I lay down in between us? I think so.
If I passed out right now, would I hit anybody? Nope.
All
We're
right.
good.
It's been so interesting, like, being gamers and like definitely having fun playing all these video games that we love, but always, knowing that that's one side of our brain, and the other side of their brain is just situation and caring for our friends that are out there that are in these industries that are essential. So it's like one of those things where like gaming has been a good solace for me and a good distraction. But also I definitely feel sometimes like, what is the point? Here I am playing Animal Crossing and my friends out there like on the front lines, and it's hard to keep that balance in your mind. And I think the best way for me to do it is just to let those people know, encourage them, promote them, do what you can to
play the game they want to when they're on their break.
Yes, exactly. Be there for them as friends and family members. So, and
also just strangers, just saying, hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Just being nice to people.
There are also some companies doing the right thing. CD Projekt Red donated $1 million to combat the coronavirus, and Nintendo donated 95,000 and 95 masks.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I know all these other companies that are doing the right thing as well, as far as saying like, hey, we have employees who are working pretty much purely on volunteer basis. Like I got an email from Best Buy that's saying, hey, people who are here want to be here. And if anybody's sick, we're telling them to stay home, and we're still going to pay them. Yeah. Like, we're trying to do the right thing. So it is also nice to see corporations, some of them, doing the correct thing. Like, especially, a lot of them are you can't even go inside anymore. You can only do curbside pickup.
Right.
So, hey, do what you got to do. And thank you guys for keeping us entertained and fed and everything, just in general. because otherwise we would have no food. There would be no toilet paper to fight over because there would be none.
We would have food, Brian. It would be each other.
Oh, no.
You thought I went off the rails before.
And that's when the cannibalism started.
Man, all you guys are starting to look a lot like animals.
Yo, I would never eat anybody in my Animal Crossing town. That's gross.
I don't think I could eat anybody I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
I could definitely eat one of them.
Yeah, there's a couple birds I'm looking at.
Oh, in
chickens.
Animal Crossing?
Animal
I thought
Crossing.
you meant at the table.
Oh,
I was
no.
like, do you already have someone in
no.
mind? I was like, no, I don't think, even if I was starving, I don't know.
No.
Hey, Brian, I got to show you something.
Okay.
Let's come over real quick. It's in the backyard.
Really,
Just real
Brian's your
quick.
I was
choice?
about to say,
Brian?
I was like, I'm the worst choice. I'm fine with this. I'm safe no matter where I go. You're not getting anything.
Seems the
off
most
of me.
agreeable to it.
Troy likes a good lean meat.
Oh, it's going to be very lean. It's going to last you about half a day. But no, there's at least one resident in my town, Merengue, who is a rhino who has a strawberry for
yeah.
a nose.
They're like a dessert.
Yeah, it's an absolute dessert, and she calls me shortcake. That one's going
Wow.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Wow,
one's
that's.
done.
I can't wait for our next segment, which is just which Animal Crossing neighbors would you eat?
Oh, I'm making that a Twitter poll.
That sounds like a tasty topic to me.
Wow, we tried to skip over it, but it came back.
Just came right
Found
back.
its
It worked
way,
itself
found
in.
its way.
I guess life finds a way.
But not for your rhino.
No, not at all.
Not if things get dire.
So yeah, that'll do it for.
So one more big thanks to all you out there that are saving our lives right now.
That's right. That's
Thank you
right.
so much.
The essentials for all of us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Indeed.
We do.
Yes. And yeah, that'll do it for this week's episode. Changing everything up. But what we're not changing is, as always, we're recording live downstairs in one of our places.
The Dragon's Den.
The Dragon's Den.
Right.
Yeah. Eventually, it might be two of our Dragon's Dens because we're gonna have to be distanced from
Oh,
one another.
right.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, going forward with Taste of Dragons, depending on or looking at the trend of things in the
Yes.
world, we're going to be experimenting with how we do the podcast.
Yes.
So it may be different styles. It may be just two of us. It may be all four of us remotely. We're not sure yet.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. We're going to be testing it out this week,
Yeah.
seeing if we can get it running.
Yeah.
Just in case there's a hard curfew being put in,
Yeah.
heaven forbid either one of us gets it,
Yeah.
whatever,
We're going to find a way.
Yes.
Yeah, we plan to continue to give you the sweet podcast news and
Yeah.
the epical dragonal stories and such. But we don't know what it's going to sound
Draconical.
like.
Exactly.
Draconical. Oh, that's such a good word.
That is a good word.
Oh,
Not just to entertain you, but to also entertain us. Because we need
Draconical.
it. And then, as always, you can find us online.
Yeah, check us out on Twitter and at Taste of Dragons, on Instagram at Taste of Dragons, and also on YouTube. Our podcasts go there as well. So if you're looking for different ways, or your friend doesn't have any of our available podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, you can throw them on YouTube as well. To find us there. Yeah.
That's right. And in case you do also listen to our other podcast, which is The Crispy Business, they are also on a hiatus as of right now because nurses and everything not all able to get together. So that one's going to be on hiatus until this is all over as well.
Right.
So.
It's worth noting that we talked about a couple podcasts ago that we were going to start a season 2. Obviously, we are suspending that a little bit, but look as this as a nice mid-season twist.
oh,
End
this
of
is
season,
the end of season. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
You think it's over, but no, it's a two-parter.
Ah!
There's a to be continued at the end. You're like, what's going on?
What's going to happen? No one knows. We don't know.
Yeah.
Rest assured, all the things that we kind of teased at, we're still going to be trying to work on in the background, but
Absolutely.
obviously we're going to take this 1 week at a time.
Exactly. So
Stay safe out there.
Yes, please do. And then, as always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
Amanda.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
The Taste of Dragons.
Have a great week, everyone.
We're back at it.
Yes, we are.